King, we got to talk about it. Last of Us, episode 5. You know, I think that this is definitely one of the only times you're going to see me, like, kind of talk positive about the show.
Oh, let's go at it.
You know, I still am not feeling the overall perception of the show. But what I will say about this particular episode is it was starting a little bit to clean itself up a little bit. You know, obviously, I don't think that the damage has been done for me, but I do think this is one of those things where this is enough where I could say, okay, we could start to savage it a little bit. You know, we could start to have like the end of the show be, we got 3 episodes left. There was a good aspect to everything that went on in this show. We saw stuff that I believe should have been in the show already, but I digress. I'm not going to really push back too much because I do think they showed the bloater in a very good way. Actually, I got a picture of the bloater right there. He's huge. He's disgusting. And that's exactly how I expected the bloater to show up. Right. Especially how he looks. So first thing I want to talk about is, the overall, I don't want to go into, the drama of the town. I don't want to really go into what happened in the show yet. I just want to get your overall perspective of episode 5 of The Last of Us.
Okay. So, when I talked to you earlier today, my wife never saw The Last of Us, and I'm playing the remastered one on my PlayStation 5, and I'm probably going to buy The Last of Us Part 1. They got it for $39, and I might do that. I might, make it an executive call to do that because I'm playing the remastered version, and buddy, it doesn't age too well. So it looks clean, but she's seeing it, and she's seeing a little bit of the differences. This episode, it kind of went back to how 1 and 2 was, how the tone of 1 and 2 felt. It felt like 3 and 4 was like 4 I didn't really like too much, but 1 and 2 was really good to me, and 3 was its own little thing that had a lot of controversy around it. I think this episode 5 is giving you a nice tone and trying to get back, and then I did see familiar parts from the game to the show, and it kind of played very well because I think those scenes needed to play out how it played out, and it did a good job in doing so. I saw a lot of violence. I saw the humans. I saw the clickers. I saw the infected. I saw the town with the sniper that was at the high point that kept them there. They had to move from car to car. So these things was all Last of Us feeling. The atmosphere felt like a post-apocalyptic world. When it was down in the tunnels, I felt very claustrophobic. So it was so many things that was done in the storytelling, not even talking about the interaction between the characters. I'm just talking about scene to scene, that it felt like how The Last of Us is supposed to feel. You felt kind of hopeless in a lot of parts in this the film, and I noticed it because I was watching my wife, and she was like shaking, to be honest with you, because there was certain scenes that she was grabbing my shoulder and asking me, "Is he going to die? Is he going to die?" And I'm like, "I'm not answering your questions. Just, excuse me, let it play out." So yeah, it was really good stuff.
All right. First off, let's brush up a little bit on the bloater. We'll talk about the city drama too real quick. I actually feel like the city drama was a little bit better than they did in the game.
Right.
But I do feel like they should have, expanded it more. I personally feel like the biggest issue of this show is the amount of episodes that they were worth investing into. I feel like 8, they would have gave 2 more episodes, a good 10 episode season like most people do these days. I feel like you could have gave a whole episode to navigating the political disaster that was known as this town. You know what I'm saying?
8 episodes?
It's 8 episodes.
That's where the discrepancy came from. I'm thinking 8 seasons. It's 8 episodes. Sound like a total idiot now. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I personally feel like they should have expanded more on this. One thing I want to say is the woman that is running the town.
Catherine.
I don't feel like no one would ever back her in any way, shape, or form. Like, I don't feel like she gives any qualities whatsoever, any characteristics that you would believe in to run to successfully be a leader to you. I think she's extremely emotional. She doesn't really take the
It's
group.
9 episodes.
9? Oh, okay. She
9.
doesn't really take the group's opinion on anything. She doesn't take the group's needs for anything. When she shot the doctor, there was no like, are we going to need this doctor? There was, I'm emotional, so I'm going to kill the doctor. And to me, you look at good leaders in TV, like one person I could think of right now is Rick from The Walking Dead. He never would have made a move like that. Even if he did not like that person, he would have put the needs of the group over the needs of himself. And to me, I didn't understand why these people backed her so much, because she didn't put anything into, to be honest with you, this dude right here, he felt, to me, he had more leadership tendencies than she did.
I'm gonna give you the pushback on it. The pushback on it is, she told you how her brother, I believe her brother name was Michael, how he was a great leader. Even Henry said how much of a great leader he was, how much of a noble man he was, how you would want to follow him to the ends of the earth. How he's talking about a person he ratted out, and how much everybody looked up to him. But that guy we have on screen right now, we're gonna call him Hitman number 1, General number 1.
Yeah, he didn't really add a whole lot to the show.
No,
he really didn't.
But he had the respect.
His dilemma, I felt, was more like, if I was going to follow someone in a scenario like that, I would follow someone like that feels like they have their stuff together and they got a mindset on what's better for everyone. Like, I honestly do feel like he had the intentions of the whole group over himself, and I just didn't feel that way about the chick. I don't see how she can captivate and charisma and be charismatic enough to get them people to follow her.
But so the thing with him is, he's following her because she formed real change. The other dude wasn't about action. And remember, they said 20 years FEDRA occupied their city, Kansas City. So for 20 years, FEDRA occupied the city and was beating, raping, and killing people. And Michael was in charge. Michael got sold out, and she got in charge. Once Catherine got in charge, Catherine formed real change. She formed the revolt. She formed the overthrow of FEDRA. So this is the reason why the people are behind her, because she actually put those words and put power to the people, and they actually got FEDRA out of there. So they're gone. So this is the reason why the people are following her and believing in anything that she says, is because she's the one that actually caused real change and changed what the oppressive nature was from FEDRA to them having actual control right now. So I yes, liberated them, JD. She was that emotional, unemotional, caring, uncaring individual that pushed change, and she pushed change in such a way that you had hardened soldiers following her. One thing I didn't like is, in the end of episode 4, they saw at the bottom of the floor was warping, and he knew what was down there, and they didn't handle that then and there, which led to what happened later.
And that's the reason I'm not vibing with her being the leader there. Like, because in that instant,
we got to ride with her anymore?
Huh? No, not really. But in that incident, he was like, yo, this is serious. We got to deal with this. And what did she say? We'll deal with this later. And then, we don't really know, because at that time, we never seen one of those do what it did. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't know what kind of damage that could do. The fact that they seen it, the fact that they seen it and they were so concerned when they saw it, they knew what that was about. They knew what could happen with that. And to me, that's why I just find it, if they would have had people there that was saying, yo, I think you are more cared about your brother's revenge than you care about our safety, our needs, us as a group. Then if I would have seen a little bit of back and forth with the actual people and her, I would say that's more realistic. But to me, they were riding for this chick no matter what she did. She could say, yo, go over there, jump off that cliff, and try to grab us an apple that's on that tree in the middle.
Like, gonna do it.
Yeah, you know to me, I didn't see it, man.
She was heartless. She was heartless in a way. When she had the room full of snitches, shout out to the snitches. Shout out to the gunnies that's out there. She had a whole room full of gunnies, and they was sitting there. One little gunner sat there and was like, "Yeah, Henry is loose, and he's being held up in a little hidey hole downtown." Yeah, that's how they caught the doctor. That's when she offed the doctor, and she killed everybody in that room. Snitches. This was the best episode for Stop Snitching. You saw this episode? This was the best episode for Stop Snitching. If you are snitching, please watch this episode and change your ways before Catherine runs down on you and puts you under.
She gonna find you, man. She gonna find you. She gonna ruin your life.
Nah, yo, the best scene in this joint was when Henry talking to Joe and said, "Yeah, man, I'm a collaborator." He said, "Yo, I don't rep no snitches, man."
Yeah, did you like how Henry was extra with him? You going to do it today?
He said, "Well, today you repping a snitch." I said, if that wasn't the best, I'm the only guy you got, and I'm a snitch.
Say, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Nothing. You gonna do exactly what I tell you to do.
You gonna ride with me because I'm gonna get you out of here. I'm a snitch and I got the key. Yo, I don't care. That was absolute dopeness. Because it was like, what you gonna do? I'm a snitch. That's it. And I'm telling you to your face, I don't rep no snitches. Even in a post-apocalyptic world, snitches ain't got no lames. See? Told you, gunny face.
So you know, speaking of Henry, you know, I want to talk a little bit about Henry. Do you think that he did a really good job at portraying Henry as a character?
Yeah.
I agree. I think that he was actually one of the highlights of the whole episode was Henry was able to, you know, really give you a vivid opinion on them without taking too much of, you know, what he actually has done in the world. Because you could tell he's got his own demons, and you could tell that Henry has been out there. He's been fighting these streets, and he's just tired. And you know what I like is just the realism of him. He's like, yo, I need your help. He's like, well, why can't you do? He's like, dude, I can't fight. I know I can't fight. I don't go in situation for me to fight. You know what I do? I snitch. And if I can't snitch, you know what I do? I team up with people that don't know their way around the town, so they have to fight for me.
Yeah, like he said, I saw you. I saw what you did. Like I saw how you was able to handle yourself. Anytime, and this is the reason why he's such a good actor. Anytime he heard a gunshot, anytime you saw commotion, he flinched. He jumped. And when they were in a precarious moment, when they was getting shot at, his first thought was to run, not to fight. So, you know, at that point, he wasn't a fighter, but he was smart enough to know that Joel, you know, had nerves of steel, and Joel in a situation where his fight or flight will kick in and he'll run. Joe is a fighter, and him putting his confidence behind Joel's ability was smart.
How did you feel about them making Sam deaf?
It worked to the narration of the film.
I did too. I didn't have an issue with that. I felt like, you know, that gave it a little bit more. The only thing I didn't like is at the beginning, Sam stepped on glass and he acted like he didn't know what glass made noise. It's like, dude, you're in a post-apocalypse world and you've been everywhere. There's no way you've never stepped on glass the entire time you've been in this post-apocalypse world.
But he didn't hear.
So I mean, do you get it from like he was asking Henry if it made noise, or he was asking Henry did it make noise? Like, because to me it kind of seemed like he was asking, is stepping on glass going to make noise? You know what I'm saying?
what I got from it was it loud noise,
Oh, okay,
right?
okay.
Right? Because
I can see how you can get that.
yeah, because he was just like, yeah, it make noise, like follow, how we do, and I'm not mimicking sign language. I don't know sign language, so
At
I'm not
all.
even gonna sit here and try to act like I do. And they navigated through it. It was he just kept imparting the world. He was always conscious that he couldn't hear, and he always took the time out to tell him what was going on.
Yeah, especially when they're talking about how to get out of the city. Like he
Yes.
tapped on this, he's like, "How we getting out?" And he put it
Yeah.
on this thing. He's like, "Tunnels." Like,
Yeah, because he knew. Oh, hey, hold on. We got Hollywood Rules with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Hollywood. Kang, we got this. Glad to see you back, brother. Attic, you keep up the great work. Thank you.
appreciate it, man.
Great work. Thank you. Yes, yes, of course. I wasn't missing today. I was just overworked, completely overworked on Sunday, and I truly missed a great episode. I definitely wanted to sit down with the comedian. I had some good comedian jokes too, man.
Yeah, and one thing you ain't gonna want to miss this weekend. Chat.
Oh, no.
Like, no chat.
Make sure that you're there this week a little bit early. Trust me. Or you're gonna have to just go back and watch the episode from the very.
No, they
beginning.
won't have to. We have precautions in place for people that can't see it. So,
Okay,
all right. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the ending. Now let's go into the spoiler territory right here. So,
all right,
if you guys ain't seen the episode, you got the spoiler room, the red everywhere, man. There's no way you can't see the difference in the temperature in the room right now. It's hot in here, man. I'm sitting here. If I had a fan, oh my God, it's hot in here. And that means if you can't take the heat, walk out the door. The door's in the back, man. Go. All right, so how did you feel about this is the part of the movie, the part of the show. First off, I still don't like how they're staying away from violence. They're still doing it. When it came to the sniper, I felt like the sniping scene was worse because there wasn't a lot of pushback. The sniper's sitting there up at the top sniping down. He sees Joe running to the right, and he doesn't have a mindset to be like, yo, he's trying to sneak up behind me. You know what I'm saying? He's continuing shooting at nothing at that point. Because they're hiding behind the car. They said they weren't going to move, which they could have moved. We don't know. It's off screen. But to me, you saw the person go out of your line of sight. Obviously, he has one going only to sneak up behind you. Got a $5 super chat from Hollywood Rose King. Oh no, okay.
Yeah, I got that one.
I don't know. Okay, sorry. So, what is your mindset on that? Like, do you want to hold that against the show any?
No, they wanted to reenact the scene from the video game inside the video game.
But even the video game, when you popped in there, he wasn't at the window like that. He was prepared to attack Joel the moment he walked in. And to me, they made that person an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure, maybe the person that they put out there, they shouldn't have put out there because he was an idiot. Like, you see the dude leave, you should have been ready to give him that smoke. But, I get where you're coming from.
I mean, I wasn't too hung up on it. They could have been, distracting him down there at the bottom. We do that a lot in Fortnite. I have we just did it right now. We have people distracting, and 9 times out of 10, when you're aiming down the scope, you don't get a chance to see who moved out of your peripheral, and it's nighttime. So,
but he was attempting to shoot him the whole time he was running. He was following him with the barrel. So, I mean, I guess we don't really have to linger on that too much if you don't want to, because there's not a whole lot of explanation for that. If they would have had more into that scene, it would have took away from the actual good part of the episode. So I'm okay with that, but I do feel like it should have been a little bit more realistic. And that's one of the parts that them going away from the game was a little annoying, but it wasn't enough where I'm going to sit there and stab him with a little knife over and over again. I think you should have did it better, but it is what it is. It's not like the end of the world. Now, this next part is where I honestly feel like.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to read JD. She gave orders for him to hold, and they were on the way. But JD, when those orders came through, he was dead already.
Yeah.
So
And not to
I don't
mention,
know.
you get orders to hold that position. Don't
Yeah,
sit there like
yeah.
an idiot getting about to get stomped on. Like,
Yeah, so I
so
don't know. I mean, in old houses too, because I have an old house. Anytime you walk up steps, they creak, and it's late night. There's nobody else outside. You're the only person making noise. You're gonna hear those steps creak, and if I hear you creaking up my steps, best believe by the time you reach the top, you're gonna go right back down the bottom. So
yeah, I would have just liked him try to get beside the door, comes in, got a big barrel. It's not going to be easy close range like that. Joe
right,
had the upper hand in the first place. But to
right.
me, once again, the reason they didn't do that is because it would have been harder to kill him off camera if they had a close up fight like that.
Struggle.
And to me, doing decisions like that to make it less violent is hurting the show overall.
Well, I feel you, but there was a lot of violence in this episode.
Yeah. But okay, so let's get to that. This is one of the times in the show where I think it played better in the show than the game, because you're able to do more. You couldn't have. Okay, so pretty much what happens is Joe picks up the sniper just like he did in the game.
Right.
Shoots a driver that pretty much has like a giant trash truck that has been redesigned to pretty much be a bulldozer. So he shoots the driver. Driver goes in the house, blows up. So you think, okay, it's something gonna happen. Well, yeah, something definitely happens. So when we talked about earlier, like the giant sucking hole, apparently, coincidentally, there is one of those under that house, and the truck went under it. When it exploded, it busted the top off, and then there must have been 300 or 400 clickers that came out of that thing. Like it. This is one of the times where I feel like it was better in this. Like, in the game, Joe just sat up there and sniped like a couple dozen that got close to them. Maybe not even a couple dozen. That's probably exaggerating. But 10, maybe 5, 10. In the show, it's hundreds. Like it's so many that Homegirl brought the whole town to kill 2 people. It had to have been the whole town. It was so many people.
It was at least.
It was all the gunners.
It was at least 30 of her good men.
And them clickers made quick work of them.
Very quickly. That's why when this guy asked him, when Henry asked him, you came across 2 clickers and you're still alive? No, you're the right guy. You are the right guy. So he understands, and everybody there understood how dangerous they were. Let's talk about that kid clicker though.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you don't want violence. Like usually when it comes to kids, they leave them out. Like they don't kill them. They don't turn them into. There's been very few times. I remember Walking Dead episode 1,
Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah, well, Walking Dead episode 1, we saw the little girl zombie. Remember, like most of the time they stay away from little kids in general. But man, this little girl was crazy, following because there's a time where, first off, it's the amount of smoke that's going on in the show, and somehow Ellie has not been killed. Like, like I get it, Joe's up there protecting her, but the amount of clickers in this scenario, you can't protect them from that amount. I think that's why they added so many regular soldiers to divide the attention.
Well, what I liked about this, you saw Joe actually panicking.
Because it generally shocked him. He's probably never seen that many clickers in one place.
I don't think it was that. Well, maybe that's your assessment of it, right? So your assessment is probably right on your part. My assessment of it is, I'm watching it. Joe never let anybody get close to his heart after Sarah died. After Sarah died, he pretty much, went into mourning his kid, and very much a recluse, especially with his heart. And he only let Tress in, but so far. Now he has been tasked with watching the kid, and even Henry, told him, your father. I can tell in your eyes, because Joe told him, he said, I'm sorry that I came at you that way. And you got a kid, and you just probably did what you felt that you had to do, because Joe probably played the scenario over in his head a couple of thousand times. And now he's in charge of this child because, when Henry said, "Oh, your dad is crazy," that's not my dad. They both, I'm not her father. But during that scene where he was definitely panicked when the gun jammed and she was about to be mowed down by that big truck, and you saw it in his eyes. And I mean, I'm telling you, man, Pascal is playing one hell of a Joe, because the emotion is coming through where he is fighting for this kid, and I see the connection starting to build as far as what he would do for Ellie. But it has to get to the ultimate part. But we know in the video game, it has to, when he makes certain decisions, he has to have that parental feeling over this kid. He has to feel like this is his child. So I'm seeing it starting to form now, and he's giving so much to the character, and that I'm starting to see the connection, and I thought it was a good thing, especially in this whole episode. There was silent connections being made throughout every scene, and they're growing closer as the Ellie and Joel that we know from the game.
Yeah, I feel like this episode's one of the times where they showed violence, but it's clickers.
Yeah,
A lot of people have an issue with like how Sony did God of War. They took out like the human on human violence.
yeah.
For the most part, you never kill humans in any of the new God of Wars, and so I think you're seeing more of that here, where it's like we're okay with clickers doing stuff. When they killed the big dude. Let
Mm-hmm.
me put him on the background. When they killed this dude, no, not her. When they killed this dude, like
Oh, when he snatched
it
his head
panned
off.
out like so far much you couldn't
Yeah,
even really see it at that point. And like I get it, they're trying to appeal to a wider audience. I understand that, but to me, there's better ways to incorporate violence that's more tolerable than this. Like I feel like they went all the way to the left side because once again, if you really sit down and think about it, Joe's killed 2 people in this entire show.
yeah.
And it's supposed to be an apocalyptic world, and there's a lot of times in the show I just don't feel like it is. But this was
Well,
a
you
little.
know what?
This part was better because I felt like the infected was an issue. Like
Yes,
it wasn't necessarily the humans; it was the infected, and
but
they came in huge hordes.
Joe didn't get a chance to kill any humans, any people that he did shoot. Well, he did kill the one, the two.
He killed
The
the 2.
guy with the sniper. Well, he killed a couple of people. The guy with the sniper, he killed him, and he killed the woman that was behind the wheel that was driving the truck.
Yeah, so he's up to 4. I forgot
Yeah,
about
it's up
them
to
too.
four
He's up
people
to
now.
4 people.
But most of the kills were, clickers, infected. So to disassociate yourself with that level of violence on people, I think Sony is probably taking a stance that they don't want to look like they are glorifying human on human violence, if that makes any sense. But I know we come from the pedigree of the game where the majority of the antagonists is humans, and we have to take out a lot of humans along the way in this in the game. So the show is a departure from what we're used to, and sometimes it's a little jarring in us getting that experience that we want from the game. So I get it.
It's like we're still in the spoiler scene. Gas Lightning said, I mean, Gabby's probably going to bash Joel's head in season 2. They're probably going to pan him off screen. Like at this point, why would they not? Like you see the commotion go, but instead, like in the game, you saw the whole thing. But I feel like they're going to do like that, kind of like they did with the sniper on here, where she's going to swing up, going to pan off, and you're just going to hear him screaming or something. Like,
No, I know what they're gonna do.
mm-hmm.
They're gonna make Ellie watch, and you're gonna be watching the horror through Ellie's eyes as you hear the
Yeah, that's
hits
probably
and
that.
stuff.
That's probably
You
you'll
know, ha-
probably see the golf club, or if they choose to use a golf club, you'll see it go up and
better.
down in her eyes, like her actual
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
So I mean, I think it's a good show. I think this is a good
Yeah.
episode.
This was
What would
probably
you
one of the
give this?
best ones.
Yeah, I would say the only one that's even remotely this good is the first episode.
Well, I
Uh,
was a fan of the three, of because what three encapsulated and what it did and was the story it told. Because I really understood Bill now, and Bill and Frank's story. So, and that's not a popular opinion with a lot of people, or some people do side with me. It's wherever you fall on the
We're
coin.
off the spoiler screen, by the way.
Yeah. Okay, but 1 and 2 definitely high watermarks. This one has to be a 5. This one has to be a 5 popcorn, for the simple fact that they showed urgency. They showed stealth. They showed stuff in the game that was in this episode. And I'm talking about scene breakdown to scene breakdown. That town when you're iconic pieces, iconic set pieces. And then you got a chance to see what a horde of clickers does to militia. Now, not all militia was military trained. Shout out to Sir Duck. Not all of them was military trained, but some of them was. And the one that was highly military trained got his head ripped off his shoulders. So once the general went down, everybody else went down, to be honest with you. But again,
to be
it was
honest
good
with you,
to see
there's nothing they
Kathleen
could
get
do.
caught up.
Did you notice the bloater got away?
Yeah, but he leads the pack. And he went right back to the town. Like, so.
Yeah, they're all dead now, too.
Yeah, by the time they get to the town, they're going to overrun that town because they left their defense. They could have. What I didn't like, we never touched on, Sam being affected and Sam attacking Ellie, but we're all for spoilers, so watch it as you will. We never, talked about if Henry never gave up Michael, they still be under federal occupation. Michael still be there. Sam would be dead. Because the outcome that Henry was trying to avoid was Sam being dead. But Sam died at Henry's hands. How disturbing that must have been to Henry, because he had no other option at that point in time but to do what he did. It was just, it was a real emotional roller coaster. And I'm watching it through with my wife and watching her react to what's happening on screen. And it's crazy to see somebody that has nothing to do with the video game absorb this world in the manner that she is. And it's like a fun trip, to be honest with you, to see how she's dealing with it. And it's crazy.
I feel you. That's where I'm off on that. It's like I said, that's why I didn't like her as a leader, because she led them into that situation.
Yeah.
Especially sending that many people to kill potentially 2 people. Because
she killed the whole town.
Yeah, for 2 people. It is what it is. But I think as far as it is, that's pretty much all for the Last of Us show we have for this week. We'll definitely cover Last of Us part. Most likely, unless this next episode's really good, we're gonna cover 6 and 7 together. Because next week
Ant-Man.
will be Ant-Man.
And we're going to have a special guest on that show when we talk about Ant-Man. I'm going to hit him up this week because I told him to watch it. So I'm definitely going to send a bad signal out to him, because I do want his opinion on this, and I definitely want him here. So we're going to welcome him into the realm to talk about this movie with us and get his opinion on it. But also, anybody that subscribed to you said the $7.99 tier and the Patreon?
Yeah, and I'm ending the video for the Last of Us part 2.
All right.